إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. يقول الله تبارك وتعالى في محكم تنزيله: يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. الحمد لله رب العالمين. On this day we'll begin a book بإذن الله تعالى, a beautiful book by Sheikh Bakr Abdullah Abu Zayd rahimahullah ta'ala rahmatan wasi'ah, Hilyat Talib Al-Ilm, which is a beautiful book, and it's incumbent upon each and every single one of us to understand the reason why the Sheikh authored this book and its importance, because it is very, very important for each and every one of us. Prophet ﷺ said in authentic hadith, كما قال إنما بعثت لأتمم مكارم الأخلاق. Verily I was sent down to what? To perfect knowledge, to perfect mannerisms. بعثت لأتمم مكارم الأخلاق. So the reason why the Prophet ﷺ made sure that he taught his companions, why? Because of another authentic hadith where the Prophet ﷺ says, the one of you that is best in character is closest to me on the Day of Judgment. So from these books we see and we know the importance of learning al-akhlaq. And another authentic narration where the Prophet ﷺ says, the one that has good mannerisms and is best in their character is like the one that has been praying all night. Now, in terms of mannerisms, the ulama, they mention that it splits in different categories. Okay? For Shaykhana, Shaykh Uthaymeen has given the sharh, which we'll be referring back to, and also the explanation of Shaykh Abdullah Al-Badr, hafidhahullah. As for the reason why the Shaykh Bakr Abu Zayd has authored this book, it's mentioned here that he said, and he mentions the Shaykh, that كان لابد منه لذلك العلماء يحثون في بداية دروسهم, that it was incumbent upon all of the students of knowledge to learn mannerisms. Why? Because majority of the scholars, whenever they will start their books, they will start by what? By mentioning the great importance of learning mannerisms. And also for the students that are seeking knowledge, in order for them to be able to have this adornment, which is the meaning of al-hilya, adornment of what? Of mannerisms, al-hilya. So when someone has mannerisms, as the ulama they mention, it says here that if a student starts and they seek knowledge and they gain knowledge, they memorize, they have understanding, but yet they don't have any sort of mannerisms, what happens? It says here, the Shaykh, he says, حُرِمَ مِنْ بَرَكَتِهِ وَفَائِدَتِهِ الْعَظِيمِ. Then it will be as if they've lost a great chunk of the actual benefits that they've taken from the actual knowledge that they may acquire. So a person can have knowledge, ikhwani, okay, and you can see it, okay. A person can have knowledge, and the example the Shaykh gave, inshallah, we're going to give as well. Person A can have a lot of knowledge, where they have memorized a lot, they have a lot of understanding. يستحضر كثيرا وسريعا, meaning if you ask him something, he's able to give you the answer and the proof straight away, there and then, fast. However, they don't have any sort of mannerism. Person A, student A. Student B may have less knowledge but has some sort of understanding and knowledge. Now, if you talk about that which happens in the day-to-day life that we have today, if a normal general common folk person that doesn't have no attachment to seeking knowledge, an ammi, comes to listen to, most of the times you see that someone that is an ammi or an older person that has no attachment to knowledge, but they love the deen, they have love for their religion, who do they look towards? Most of the times you see they won't even look towards that which you're saying, but rather the way you conduct yourself and the way you carry yourself. So that's why the ulama, they mention what? Hurimat, meaning that you will be someone that you've literally deprived yourself of that which you've acquired and you've sought, which is knowledge. So that's why the ulama, they would always from the beginning of time, they would make sure that they teach their students of knowledge al-akhlaq. And subhanAllah, it's going to be mentioned here by the Shaykh. It's mentioned that before, in the beginning of time, what would happen? They would have a mu'addib, an actual person that would come that will teach the people mannerisms, i.e. the young students and those that are starting their journey in seeking knowledge, to show the great importance, which is that which we need today. Because you find a lot of people, they have a lot of knowledge, they may acquire some sort of understanding, but yet it's like having a tree, okay? A branch, a tree, okay? But the actual roots is planted with knowledge, okay? So they have some sort of understanding. But in terms of the leaves, they are dried and they've literally rotten, okay? So meaning the person won't be able to actually benefit from the fruits of that tree if someone doesn't have mannerisms. And then it says, the Shaykh, he mentioned, Shaykh Abdullah, Hafidhullah, said, قال بعض السلف. Some of the Salaf they would mention. So ikhwan, this is why it's important for you to have a pen and paper so you write things down from the benefits. Because at the end we'll ask the questions of that which we covered. There's no benefit of me and you being present where we're just talking, we're discussing, and then we go away and we don't even know that which we've sought or that which we've actually started to discuss amongst ourselves. It says, قال بعض السلف. Some of the Salaf they would mention, كاد الأدب أن يكون ثلثي العلم. Look at this statement, Allahu Akbar. Some of the Salaf they mention that it is almost as though that mannerisms and having good characteristics and good conduct, it is a third of al-ilm, to that degree. Okay, let's say you've got a whole book of knowledge or a whole room of knowledge, split it. A third of it, the ulama they would say, the Salaf they would say, كاد الأدب أن يكون ثلثي العلم. That mannerisms, to the extent it's reached, that is so important, that is a third of this ilm, this knowledge. What is the meaning of al-hilya, ikhwani? What's the meaning of al-hilya? Who can tell me the meaning? What do you understand when you look at this book and you understand that which we're discussing today? What does it mean, Hilyat Talib al-Ilm? What's the meaning? Adornment. Okay, adornment, but what does it mean when you adorn yourself with knowledge? What does that mean? To beautify. Barakallahu fikum. It says here, huwa zinat wa jamal. It's a zina. Okay? So you've literally adorned yourself with knowledge, with akhlaq, and also it is that which is displayed. Like we mentioned earlier, the first thing someone, as the English have a saying, the first impressions last. If you meet someone for the first time, the way they treat you is what? Is that which is going to last. So no matter what happens afterwards, the first thing you're going to remember, your first encounter of someone. Okay? That's why Prophet ﷺ said, Sallim ala man ta'rif wa ala man lam ta'rif. Give salam to those that you know, those that you don't know. Okay? Ifshu salam baynakum. Spread the salam amongst yourselves. Talqul wajh, ibtisam, al-wajh, sadaqa. Smiling to your brother is sadaqa. And all of these other hadith. So ikhwani, the first impression lasts. So that's why it's mentioned what? The zina. Okay? Meaning that which you should adorn yourself with is characteristics. And then the Shaykh, he says, because of the fact that الناس يرون هذا ظاهر, the people, they see this as apparent. That is what they see, is that which they take, and they judge you according to that which they see. Okay? So that's why it's incumbent upon each and every single person, and more so those that are seeking knowledge, those that represent Islam. You are an ambassador of Islam, each and every single one of us. And that's why Umar ibn Khattab has got a great saying which he says, and he says, and when he was advising his companion, he says, "Ud'u an-nas bis-samt." Okay, call the people, give da'wah to them by being completely and utterly silent. So they said, "Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, kayfa hadha? How can this be, oh Amir al-Mu'mineen?" And then he said, "Bi akhlaqikum," by your mannerisms. The Prophet ﷺ, it was known that how many people accepted Islam or even started to question themselves with their own belief due to his characteristics, ikhwan. Due to his characteristics. It's a great thing, but that's why it's known that Islam is the best of religions. And then it's mentioned here, the Shaykh, he said that's why it's mentioned and it's known that the ulama would always encourage one to try their best to seek. And some of the ulama, it's going to be mentioned here, but we'll mention it just now as that it's come to our attention, that some of them, they would say that I sought knowledge for يعني تعلمنا الحديث حفظ الأحاديث وفهم الأحاديث ومصطلحات, meaning we learned the faculty of and the sciences of hadith for 15 years, 10 years. وتعلمنا الأدب, meaning that we sought akhlaq and good conduct for 20, 30 years, meaning they would give great importance to seeking knowledge, but at the same time, even so more, they would make sure they have adorned themselves with good characteristics. Good characteristics. Because this was the way of the Messenger ﷺ. If you claim that you follow the Sunnah and you claim that you're a Muslim, then this should be something that you try your best to be like the Messenger ﷺ. إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ لِأُتَمِّمَ مَكَارِمُ الْأَخْلَاقِ. I was sent down to perfect good character. So this is the beginning, and the muqaddimah, the Shaykh mentions that, so we won't read each and every single text in the Arabic language due to the time. So some texts and some parts we'll read, and the rest of it, inshallah, we'll just translate as we're studying amongst each other. So the Shaykh, he mentioned so many points, meaning the author of the book, that is, and he mentioned the reason why he authored this book. And from the beautiful things that he mentioned, he said, and then he said, was samti as-salih, meaning that which you can see that is apparent from the person that is righteous is him keeping quiet, okay, and making sure he looks towards how he conducts himself. Simatu Ahli al-Islam. These are the characteristics, and this is what should be apparent to the people of the Muslims, okay. And then he said, Abu Bakr said, وقد كان العلماء السابقون يلقنون الطلاب في حلق العلم آداب الطلب. And that from the ulama of the past, they used to teach their students in the gatherings of ilm the characteristics of seeking knowledge. And then he said, وأدركت خبر آخر العقد في ذلك في بعض حلقات العلم. And that I have also, i.e. the Shaykh Abu Bakr said that I managed to witness the last portion of this, i.e. the people actually teaching mannerisms in the classes of seeking knowledge. في مسجد النبوي, in the Messenger's Masjid صلى الله عليه وسلم. إذ كان بعض المدرسين فيه يدرس طلابه كتاب الزرنوجي. That some of the teachers would teach their students this book. Okay, and this book was a book called تعليم المتعلم. Okay, teaching the one that is teaching طريق التعلم. Okay, the way to teach. So meaning it's a book on mannerisms, and they would teach this to the students. So as we mentioned, the Shaykh Abu Bakr Zayd rahimahullah, he mentioned the reason why, given khulasa, summarizing all of that which he mentioned, because it's a long muqaddimah, the main reason as to why he did it is due to the fact that it was of great importance to the Salaf that came before. And he ascribed himself to this beautiful manhaj of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, and that is to follow the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, okay, and what he was upon, and the 3 generations, his companions, and that which they understood of the deen. And this shows by the book that he authored. So Shaykh Uthaymeen rahimahullah, he mentioned that of course they lived in more or less the same time, because he mentions in the beginning that our brother Abu Bakr Zayd authored this book, and it was of great importance and benefit, and that's why the Shaykh, he authored this book, i.e. explaining the original text of Shaykh Abu Bakr Zayd. To begin, ikhwani, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.